This is Wilson Miles from Black Film TV. We're here at the David H. Koch Theater at Lincoln Center, New York City for the world premiere of Deadpool Wolverine. We're going to be talking to the cast and the creatives to see what this film is all about. We're talking to Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Leslie Uggams, the rest of the cast. Everybody's looking forward to see that this is going to be the biggest film of the summer, if not more. So stay tuned. It's been 18 years since you were last played Pyro. What's it like feeling like coming back?
It feels really good, man. Happy to be here.
When did you get the call? Did you ever think it would be possible to replay this character again?
I certainly didn't see it coming. Really happy to get the call, and loved that it worked out.
Now, did you have to play catch-up in terms of watching the Deadpool films and maybe any other, the Wolverine films, just to get an idea as to where your character may come in?
No, I had seen those films, and I think for me the main thing was just to make the adjustment between the tones of the old movies and the Deadpool films. Very, very different tones. So I had to sort of adjust the character, make him a lot bigger, more satirical.
And then, you know, you're working with Ryan, you're working with Hugh, Shawn. Is there anything you're getting out of their collaboration? And you've done other projects since then, you know, that maybe you can take further along, whether it's the banter, the enjoyment.
I was just very impressed by how off the cuff they were all able to be. It's a huge movie. There's a lot of moving pieces. It's difficult to orchestrate a day of that, and to see that these guys were able to come in and just play and just do things in the moment, improv, ad lib. It was very, very impressive.
Is this a one and done, or have we seen the last of Pyro?
Oh, I'm the wrong guy to ask. Not in control of it. I'd love to do it again.
Where do we see you next?
You can see me right now in a movie called Finest Kind. It's playing on Paramount Plus.
You're back, Negasonic. It's been a minute since we last saw you. What can we expect from your character this season, this movie?
Well, she's definitely there. She's definitely in there. She's still with Yukio, and seems like their relationship is going well, I think.
When did you get the call that you were going to come back?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, I guess 2 years ago now, maybe a year and a half ago, I was in my living room and my team called me about it, which it was a surprise to me. I wasn't expecting it, so I was very excited and honored to be here.
Now that it's part of the MCU, the Deadpool films, did you have to play catch-up and watch the Wolverine films or any of the Marvel films just to see, like, where Deadpool, as well as your character, fits into the whole Marvel universe?
You know, I did not actually do that. I probably should have done that. It's a great idea. I'm going to write that down to do later. No, I really just showed up. I was really excited to meet you. So, yeah, my main focus was just talking to everyone and having fun, you know.
So what's the feeling like coming back and working with Ryan and Leslie and Morena, you know, the whole gang again?
It's crazy, because I think it's been 8 years or something, and on the first film I was still a teenager, so it's crazy. It's also cool to get to hang out with them as a fellow adult, you know, and not like the teenager in the room. So,
where do we see you next then?
This is a great question. I did a movie called Osiris, but I think it's supposed to come out next summer, so yeah, good question.
Back as Sabretooth.
Yes, after all this time.
After all this time, you're back. When did you get the call and how did you feel?
Oh man, you know, Shawn called and he goes, "Hey, do you want to be Sabretooth again?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" You know, and then just getting to reunite with Hugh and meeting Ryan and all of them was fantastic. Being a part of it, amazing.
Now, did you have to go back and watch the films you were in, as well as the Deadpool films and the Wolverine films, to get an idea as to where your character may fit in?
No, man, I have seen all those Deadpool films and all the other ones. It was like when I put that costume back on, Sabretooth was back, and he knew exactly where he had to be.
Now, we're not getting younger, so did you have to get back into the gym to fit into the costume?
I did. I wish I had a little more time, but it was all good, you know? So it worked out good.
So then, you know,
hopefully they bring him back for some more.
You know, obviously when you do a Deadpool film, there's a lot of comedy in there. You know, so we haven't seen your scenes yet, but when you're in a scene with Ryan and Hugh, do you feel that you need to add in your funny bones?
Oh, heck no. You're just trying not to laugh. You know, when Ryan's doing his shtick, it's like, oh my God, okay. I was a straight guy, you know what I mean? So it was like, I was,
So
let him do all the comedy.
where is Sabretooth at this point?
Sabretooth is getting ready to rip Wolverine's head off in a different universe, I think.
Okay. You know, with the Marvel films, no one ever dies. So have we seen the last of Sabretooth?
I hope not. I got to talk to Kevin Feige about that, right?
And what's it like being part of the MCU now?
That is just amazing to be brought into that, and like I say, to wear that costume again after all this time, bloody amazing.
How much more can you say about this character?
I can't say much. I can say I'm not dead. That's an important factor in the
So what came to you first, the comics or this character? The call, how did it come about?
Actually, so in the second movie, I was in the second movie briefly, and that was a call from the director, David Leitch, who's a good friend of mine who I've worked with before when I was a kid. He was the director of John Wick, the very first John Wick, with Chad Stahelski. So I know them very well, have a good relationship with them. He called me up and was like, what do you know about Shatterstar? I knew that the character, because as a kid I used to play with him because he had these cool swords. They were like double-bladed swords. So I had the toy as a kid, but I didn't really know the backstory. So I had to learn about the backstory, which is a long, crazy backstory.
So when you're doing this movie, how much more did you have to play catch up? Was it watching the Wolverine films, more of the Deadpool, just familiarize yourself, all of the MCU films, just to get an idea as to where Shatterstar fits in?
I did watch X-Men First Class on the plane on the way here, but strictly just for fun. Just to see that one scene with Hugh Jackman, he's like sitting in the bar smoking the cigar. No, I'm pretty familiar with where everybody fits in and how this has been going along, so I'm just happy to be back and give Shatterstar some more life and, add to the character's history.
So when you're working with Ryan again, what's different this time?
Nothing's different. It's the exact same, honestly. He's just, maybe he's just better at what he's doing now. It's crazy to watch. Yeah, the guy's really humble, really, really talented, and he makes it easy to work on set. So it was the same as before, actually.
And so what's the difference between David's direction and Shawn's?
I don't know. I think David comes from an action background, and maybe he looks at things a little bit differently in those terms. Shawn and Ryan have a very good shorthand, and from the comedy background, and I think that they're very into like trying new things and trying new takes. But David has that too. I don't know. It's hard to say. I love them both. So, and I haven't seen this film yet, so I can't pick which one I like better yet.
What other projects you got coming up?
Mortal Kombat 2, we just finished, wrapped that in Australia. Have a really incredible indie action movie coming up called Copperhead. I have a TV series that I can't talk about yet, but it's going to be big news. And there's a lot of stuff, so keep an eye out.
So with all these action sequences, at what point do you not stay in shape?
That's the key. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready, I'm constantly training martial arts. I'm constantly shooting, and when I'm not shooting, if I take a vacation, it's a short one, so...
All right.
I stay fit.
Congratulations.
I stay ready so we can do some more Shatterstar stuff.
All right, let's keep it going. Is there a point we're going to see you back again in the MCU universe?
I sure hope so. Look at this. This is amazing. Who wouldn't want to be here?
Obviously, you're back in this movie. Well, actually, you're not back in this movie. So when they called you to be in this movie, what were your first thoughts?
Surely they've got the wrong number, is what I thought. But I was so honoured, and the moment I sat down with Shawn Levy and heard his pitch of the film and what they wanted and how, above everything else, it was going to give people this really joyful tale about friendship, I was in.
What are we going to get from your characters that's probably the same or different from what people know from the comics?
I think this version of Cassandra is very unpredictable. She's this Omega level mutant. She has such immense power. And I think you get a sense of that in this film and the way she really toys with Deadpool and Wolverine. She's very amused by them.
Now, when you get a movie like Deadpool, there's a lot of comedy involved. Are we going to see a serious side of Cassandra or a little bit of humor?
A little bit of both, I think, yeah. But I'll let you see. I don't want to ruin anything.
Now, when you're working opposite, obviously, with Hugh and Ryan, do you walk in there and say, do I need to have the same funny bones to keep up with the same energy?
Well, yeah, I was really nervous about that because I haven't got a background in comedy, and I thought, oh God, I'm going to have to be really funny. And I think I'm probably only accidentally funny in life. But you know what? They really create an environment where you don't have to be funny. You can just bring what you can, and everyone has their own things that they excel at, and we really found a way through with Cassandra that incorporated comedy but in a very unexpected way.
Now, unless you're an avid Marvel fan, not everybody knows of Cassandra. So how much research did you do into this character?
I did quite a lot. I was really fascinated by her origin story, the fact that she's the evil twin sister of Professor X. And I sort of weave that in a lot to this film because, of course, Wolverine being an X-Man is one of the X-Men is, that really ties them all together in this little triangle, and it's really the elephant in the room when they're all together. So I found that interesting.
You're back, the third one. How much more fun is it this time around?
Oh, it's fantastic. I think the audience is going to really love this movie. And, of course, to be with Ryan and Hugh Jackman, what's not to like?
Everybody knows this is an R-rated movie. When they're bringing you back in, how much of the dialogue has changed, or is it the same thing we're going to get from Blind Al?
She's got a toilet mouth. She's not going to change.
And then when you have Hugh Jackman in the movie, and you got Ryan, and then there are two different type of characters. How much fun is it with the two of them around? And were you in any of the scenes with both of them?
Well, the thing is, you could tell that they have great respect for each other. They're very close, and I think when you see the movie, you'll see that. So being on the set with them was just wonderful.
Between American Fiction, Fallout, this movie, you're getting a lot of work these days. Did you change agents, or what's happening? Are you saying yes to everything?
I got the same agents. I love my agents. It's just opportunities came, and they asked me to be a part of it, and I like to do things that are different, not the same old thing. And I've been very lucky because they've turned out to be things that people are excited about.
So what's different with Blind Al? Is it the hair, the glasses, the setting?
The hair and the glasses. Once that happens, she becomes magical.
You've been working for such a long time, from theater to films to TVs. You're working with Shawn Levy on this film. Actors can never stop learning. Is there anything you picked up this time around that was new to you?
Well, I always watch what people are doing because I'm always learning. That's why I love being in this business, because I get to work with great directors and actors, and you always learn something from them. And that's what I hope to be forever. Back
X23, when you knew this movie was being made, how long was it before they called you?
A while. It was a good 6 months, I feel like.
Okay.
Where I was like, it's fine, it's okay, I guess I'm not in it. And then I got a phone call, and it was the best day of my life, I think.
You've worked with Hugh. What's it like working with Ryan?
Incredible. The funniest, most talented. They're both it's so rare to have people who are on their level of success, who are still human beings that you can have a conversation with, and who care to ask you how your day was, and who are also they're such wonderful people, and then as soon as the camera's rolling, they're the most talented actors you'll ever work with. So it felt like a true masterclass for me to learn how to navigate being on a set and to learn how to act as well. So I felt really honored.
Now, it's been a while since we last saw Logan.
It has.
Did you have to rewatch the film and any of the Deadpool films to get an idea as to where your character may fit in?
Yeah, I watched all of them, obviously. I rewatched Logan. It was so weird rewatching it as well. So obviously when I filmed it, I didn't realize how young I was, and then I rewatched it and I was like, oh my god, baby. And kind of rewatching it was so beautiful because I got to relive a lot of memories from while we were filming it. And I love the Deadpool movies. I've watched them a trillion times, but I obviously rewatched them for this. And it was really fun. Obviously, it's so fun that for my job, I'm like, oh, prep is I guess I have to watch Deadpool.
And what's the feeling like to be part of the MCU?
Incredible. It feels pretty cool. Yeah, I'm excited.
People have been looking forward to see what you do next. Is there anything you got from working with Ryan and Shawn on this particular film that helps you out moving forward, skill set wise, as an actress?
Yes, 100%. I think I really learned a lot from Ryan and from Shawn. A lot from. I think I would love to direct at some point, and Shawn's set management and the concisiveness in his notes and the care he has for a project is completely inspiring. And if I ever get to direct, I would love to be an eighth of what he is. And as for Ryan, I mean, it's impossible. I'd like to think that I learnt a little bit of his capacity to kind of balance comedy and like real soul and humanity to a character. Hopefully. I mean, he's amazing.
Did you have to get back in the gym, or is it all stunt double?
Darling, I did a lot of the stunts, okay? Luckily, I'd just come off of Star Wars, so I was pretty in shape already. And that character's so in me that her physicality just came right out. I went into training and it was very easy. As soon as the sound came out, the slashes were out again. It was really fun.
Have we seen the last at 23? You know, when you do a Marvel movie, you don't just sign for one. You know, maybe there's a possibility.
I mean, hopefully.
You know?
I literally don't know. If people like this one, maybe.
You know everybody's going to like the one, you know? When you're at a third film, you got to keep it going.
Exactly. Well, you should. I think they should. That's a great film.
I always get nervous when there's a lot of writers on a movie.
Oh my God.
You know, I'm like, who added what? You know? So
here's the difference. Usually when you see a lot of writers on a movie, they have been hired in sequence. They've been hired, fired, then someone replaces that person, then the person replaces that person. In this case, all 5 of us wrote together. We really worked as a team. You'll see our names in the credits with an ampersand between each name as opposed to the word A-N-D, and that means that we worked as a team together. So it really was a collaborative, cooperative process.
Don't be nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Don't be nervous. Be excited. You've got
a hive mind. You've got we're like the Borg, if you get that reference. Like
knowing this is the first hybrid between what was on Fox and then Disney, you know, is it a question of these guys? These are the Disney writers and these are the Marvel writers. We got to find a balance as to what's going to be acceptable to the audience.
I mean, I would say, look, first and foremost, we were all fans of Deadpool, despite our backgrounds. So, you know, Ryan had been doing the character forever. Zeb Wells is a big comic guy. You know, Shawn and Ryan have done 3 straight movies, so they're super tight and have a shorthand. And Paul and I have been working together forever and understand Deadpool. Like, I mean, we just hear him in our head. So I really do think it was less a question of forcing people who are unlike together, and more a question of forming one single voice, and it happened quite easily.
What was more challenging? Putting in as many characters you got, adding in the music, adding the action sequences. All that can get confusing at times when you have this many people trying to balance it all out.
Well, I think if everyone comes into it with the same mindset, the same. I don't know what would the word
say
be?
Egolessness and a willingness to collaborate and to know that no single voice exceeds any other in a movie. Everybody's contribution matters. The best idea wins, and you have to check your ego at the door.
Of what kind of movie we're all making, right? Sometimes it gets crossed where writer and director think they're making 2 different movies, and marketing thinks they're marketing a different movie, and the audience thinks they're seeing a different movie. In this one case, we all felt like we were simpatico, that we all knew the movie we wanted to make, and that goes from, you know, the start with Rhett and myself, you know, Zeb, Shawn, Ryan, Hugh. We were all collectively knew the movie we wanted to make and wanted to see.
Knowing that the time variance is involved in this, did you guys have to watch Loki to get an idea? And knowing when it's Kevin Feige, there's always Easter eggs in here.
Oh yeah. No, we watched Loki, of course. We needed to, really, because that's probably the linchpin to understanding this movie perfectly. But one of the things we discovered was that the depth of your knowledge, you think it's deep, it's not. There's even a deeper chasm below you with even more Easter eggs you didn't know about. And everybody starts peppering their own in there. And then ultimately it's like the perfect movie for someone who has watched all the Marvel movies. They really get rewarded by seeing a lot of the things that they relate to from other things.
It's like the art department and the production design. They all even plant their own Easter eggs that we don't even know about as they're building sets, and it's like, wow, that wasn't even in the script, and then the production design department kind of slapped it on, and then we're seeing it in the trailers.
There will be fans who know better about, you know, who everybody is in this movie than I do, for sure.
Who will freeze frame every single frame. Oh my God, like you could watch this movie 5 different times and still miss stuff. Like,
whose idea was to throw in the music from NSYNC to Avril Lavigne to Madonna?
I mean, look, that's a combination of Ryan, Shawn, our editors, us. Sometimes we suggest songs. Like it's really a smorgasbord.
Give it to you, that DMX.
Yeah, that was
the signature song. That was Reese, Deadpool 1.
And then some of the songs, you try them, they don't work that well. You end up replacing them. So it's a smorgasbord for sure.
Did you have to watch the previous films to get a tone of the music so you know what to put in?
No, I actually avoided watching the previous two films because this is a fresh start for Deadpool in the Marvel Universe, and just the nature of what the film is, it I think deserved a fresh take. So I tried to not listen to allow myself to just kind of respond to the character and the story.
For those who know your music from your previous movies, and anybody who's a hardcore fan of yours, are they going to find a signature strain in this music that they know is yours?
I hope so, but I'll let other people be the ones to say that, but I hope.
Now, what comes first to you? Is it the scene or the script before you decide what to put in?
It's usually the script, but it depends on when I'm brought in. Shawn brought me in quite early, so I read the script and I was able to just respond to that with some music in the clear before I saw anything. And he loved it, and so they ended up playing it on set, and it ended up kind of paving the way for the main theme of the film.
How often did you work on a theme before you decided this is the right one?
There was one that I felt like this is it, and this is what I want it to be, and it ended up being the one. But then we had some other themes that ended up finding homes in the film for other characters and other scenes. So there's actually a handful of themes.
Obviously, you've worked with Ryan before, but this is your first foray into the MCU. What gives?
What gives, man? I'll tell you, fortune gives me a lot of beautiful stuff these days, because Ryan and I have done 3 movies together, and this one, Deadpool and Wolverine, is an opportunity to be creative on such an anthemic scale, and I really just feel incredibly lucky to work in this sandbox of legacy with these big themes and with these movie stars who are also dear, they're brothers to me. And so we made a movie with friends that is itself about friendship.
You've worked on so many projects, but for this particular movie, did you have to go back and watch Deadpool and the Wolverine films and Loki to get an idea as to what you're doing?
I'll be honest, I didn't need to go back and watch Deadpool or Logan movies because I've seen Deadpool and Logan many, many times. Those are masterpieces. And my reverence for that legacy is profound. I did go and watch more Loki, and it's really good.
So when you're working with Hugh, obviously this time around, and the banter between him and Ryan, how do you keep it together?
You know, I'm lucky because Hugh is such a pro. He understood that Ryan is the engine. Ryan in a Deadpool movie is the comedy engine, and so Hugh is like a great basketball player who understands it's not his job to keep shooting. Ryan is going to throw it up all day, and Hugh's got to be there to be the backboard sometimes, to grab a rebound, and to see an opportunity to drop in a joke or a moment. And Hugh's instincts for how to get the best out of himself and give the best to the movie, it's incredible to watch.
Well, you've now got Deadpool in the MC universe. What goes into keeping it R-rated and making sure that the tone works with everything else within the MC universe?
Well, part of the MCU is about disparate elements that should not work well together, working well together. I remember we were working on Iron Man 2, and we were in pre-production, we had announced the Thor movie. And there were people like yourself who asked me, how in the world is this Norse god Thor going to work with this grounded technological superhero? And that's what the fun of Marvel is, are those kind of team-ups. So Deadpool already had 2 great movies, so the tone was established. So when he came to Marvel Studios, we had to honor and respect that tone and maybe take it a little further.
There are a lot of writers on this, which gets people nervous, but you're the Overwatch. What goes into working with them and you giving them some ideas to plant Easter eggs?
Well, you know, Shawn and Ryan, who are also co-credited screenwriters on this, we're very open to that. We're very open and are big fans of the MCU, which was very meaningful and is very nice. But Ryan is the sort of the master Deadpool whisperer. He knows what Deadpool will say, and he knows how Deadpool will say it. And Rhett and Paul and Zeb and the 3 other writers, they really all worked together. So it was really almost a singular writing unit as opposed to what you sometimes see in a lot of big movies writers coming and going. They all work together at various points.
When Fox merged with Disney, how long were you thinking about, okay, how can I make this work?
Years and years. And it really has taken us, I can't remember exactly what it's been, 4 or 5 years to get to this point where we're at the premiere and about to unveil it to the world.
We don't know what we're going to see. I'm sure there's going to be some characters that we're looking forward to seeing other platforms and what we do. You know, how do you try to manage it all between Deadpool and Wolverine and Loki?
Again, that's part of the fun of that shared universe, right? And you're right. You mentioned Loki, the Time Variance Authority is in this movie, but the way it's presented in the movie, it will be, I think, many people's first time. People hadn't watched the Loki series; they'll be meeting the TVA for the first time, and that's exactly how Deadpool is doing it. So you'll experience everything as if it's a part one for the first time through the hero's eyes.
I'm going to go off script before we end and ask you, how soon before we get a Black Panther 3?
Did you have a script you were working on before? We talk with Ryan about it all the time. Ryan's finishing another movie right now that I think he's almost done with, and we've already had some conversations, and as soon as he's finished, we're going to have more.
What have been some of the biggest risks and rewards of bringing Wolverine and Deadpool into the same film?
I think both of us had such high expectations for the movie. So yeah, there's risk because we wanted this to exceed those expectations, and both these characters mean so much to us. Our friendship is one of the most important things in my life, so you want it to be as great as it can be. And thankfully, for me anyway, it's exceeded everyone.
I think it's also, that those same tenets could be broadly applied to the audiences of these movies. I mean, their expectations are sky high, and you can't just meet them, you have to exceed them, not just in like one sequence or broadly in every moment of the movie. So the thing I'm most proud of is that every frame of Deadpool and Wolverine is thoughtful, in the sense that, we spent so much time and so much detail and paid so much attention to the detail in every single moment, and it just pays off. And especially when you're trying to deliver one thing and one thing alone, which is joy and a complete experience. It's not a commercial for another movie. It's a complete experience. You get to come in, you buy a ticket, you sit down, and you get to walk out and say, well, that was the best 2 hours I've had in years.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.